Once again to Olympic ice hockey on Eurosport. It's day 12 and it's the quarterfinal, Slovakia against Russia. And this is a big one for both teams. The winner goes on to fight in the next round for the medals, and the loser, well, fights for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th position tomorrow. And the Slovaks really want to make a first impression out there. This is the first time they've been in the Olympics, and they really have a powerful team that qualified when they played in Sheffield in England. And not too many people expected the Slovaks to be in the final 8, but here they are. Now they're playing against the Russians. The Russians, folks, with an up and down side, and one or two people had a few doubts about them too making the final 8.
Well, they have been a very temperamental team. We've seen them showing frustration. We've seen Tikhonov look happy behind the bench. That's a rarity. The team has played very well, and then they've had moments where they've looked very average.
Coming from the side and then right out front, and Zuyev goes down, coming in around the net. The Slovaks are piling on the pressure, and the Russians now with Kudashov. Kudashov going in on the backhand. Kudashov trying to get it to the side of the net. Shakaris was there, Stasny was there, and Palfi picks up the puck. Both teams changing on the fly as that's flipped all the way in. And the Slovaks with an unlucky bounce pick it up. Shakaris tries to rattle that right through. Going in the corner, Ivanov. Right across in front of the net. Zuyev picks it up with Hasak. Cruising, Ivanov was on him, but Hasak is always so dangerous.
Zuyev had to be awake. The puck coming right to the front of the goal. Good work from Kolnick. Kolnick directs it right to the front of the net. There's Hasak. He is not the easiest guy in the world to move off the puck. We've seen how tough this guy is. He forechecks, he backchecks, he can do it all, and Hasak nearly getting the Slovaks on the board first.
1:34 gone in the first period. Hasak moves into the face-off circle, and we're going to do that again. The American referee, Mr. Hearn, didn't like what he saw out there. Hasak refused the opportunity to play in the NHL and went on to play in Sweden. Veritsky now, that comes back, the shot comes in and deflected away upstairs.
The Slovakian team has been very impressive. You were just mentioning Hasak, Paul. Satan, Miroslav Satan, number 18. He's a 20-year-old kid, an Edmonton draft choice. He's got 7 goals in these Olympic games so far in 5 games. Zygmunt Palfi, number 68, another one. 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points. Peter Stastny, the old veteran, with 8 points, 4 goals and 4 assists.
Hasak able to keep it in the zone, and the Russians shoot it all the way down the ice. Medrick is there. Medrick up quickly on the wing, and the Slovaks have come out flying. Konsak fires that all the way across the rink, trying to hit Kolnick. That didn't work, and the Russians now with Veritsky unable to trap it. That bounced off Kolnick's stick, and it moves into the zone. Kolnick picks it up. A chance now. The shot right on the goal. Zuyev steers it into the corner. Hasak still out there. A long shift as that's thrown over by Smerchak. Kolnick. Konsak. Hasak now. Bezukladnikov moves in on his man, and bobbling puck in the corner. Tertishny takes him out heavily. Bezukladnikov feeds it over. Tarasov can only get it as far as Smerchek. Smerchek goes deep, and the Slovaks try to change on the fly. Long pass into neutralized territory is batted down and thrown in. We'll have another face-off, and a good start for the Slovaks here in the first period.
They are putting more pressure on than the Russians are, but you've got to question the fact that the Russians have more players that they'll use during the game, and they're keeping their shifts a lot shorter than the Slovaks are right now. That last shift for Otto Hasak was a long one. Stastny's line, when it gets out there, guys like Palfi stay on the ice for a long time. It could take its toll later in this game.
Janosch unable to get away from Vinogradov. Nikolitin came in. Sergeyev takes a swipe at it. Davidov to the far side, and the Russians shoot it right in. Hartman really hasn't been tested. Petrovicki now for the Slovaks. Petrovicki hits the blue, winds up and takes a big shot that was batted down at the D, and a chance now as Varitsky back passes it. Nikolishin drops it in. Nikolishin trying to set it up, some grabbing back there behind the red line. Smerchak involved in that as Hearn indicates holding on the play.
Number 5, Marian Smerchak, getting a hold of a Russian, pulling him down, and he'll go to the penalty box. Referee Bob Hearn right in position to make that call quite easily. Spinning Vinogradov around is Smerchak, and the Slovaks go to the penalty box first.
3:28 the time of the penalty. Face off deep in Slovak zone, all the way back. Sorokin, big shot. All the way down the ice, and Smirnov will chase. .93% on the penalty kill. Berezin has got the wheels. Berezin goes in, drops it off at the top of the circle, puts it back into the corner. Berezin and Kudashov working out there, and the Slovaks with Palfi clearing it out of the zone. Sorokin drops it back. Zuyev lost that for a moment. Stasny now is deep and throws it all the way down the ice. Some good stuff from the Slovaks. They're looking to get a change, as are the Russians. Bacha, 110 on the power play. Long clearance away as Bacha got hold of that one. Zuyev drags it down. Atyukin breaks on the left. That comes up to Torgeyev, and he can't hang on to it. Torgeyev working in, trying to get the stick on the puck as Tarasenko muscles with Torgeyev from the side of the net. Right around in front. Hartman went down. Torgeyev was there. Sakaris on the far side of the rink. He gets up slowly. And Torgeyev, folks, we talked about this guy before. He's a real danger man, isn't he?
That's right. With a lot of players leaving to go to the NHL, Torgeyev, at 28 years old, getting his chance to shine for the Russians. Putting that one off the goalpost. Hartman is spread out. He doesn't have a chance. Torgeyev just doesn't stop working. We've liked this guy right from the first game.
From the face-off, Medrick doesn't get it away. Hasak comes in with a check from behind. Hasak unable to free that one up. Big shot comes in. Ivanov got a piece of it, and that was batted in midair. Ivanov really getting the lumber to that.
The Russians are spreading out and moving the puck around. Hartman has come up big a couple of times.
And Hartman has been the subject of many conversations in Lillehammer and Jovic. Is he good enough to play on this team? Well, he's the best they have. One or two people have questioned the goaltending for the Russians. Zuyev at times has looked really shaky. Abramov at 34 is not really the answer. Ivanov pumps that to the far side. Shendelev takes the shot. Hartman goes down. Svella moves in quickly. And a lot of pressure coming as Bacha brings it out and flips it all the way down the ice. Shendelev takes a swipe at it. 9 seconds on the power play. Ivanov holds his man on the boards, and the Slovaks will have killed this one off. Coming back on the attack, Varitsky with the Slovaks getting back to full strength. Pumps it right out front. That bounces wide, and the Russians keep it in the zone. Long pass. Karpov, good pass onto the far wing. Karpov takes a shot. Hartman goes down, leaves it right in front. Bacha got a piece of it and couldn't clear it away. Another shot comes in. Because Sputnikov, oh boy, I choked on that one. Couldn't get the shot away. And that comes out front. Bezukladnikov this time, I got it right, is hit, and Petrovicki gets the cross check. Hearn, no doubt in his mind.
Undoubtedly, that was a penalty. Hearn, not the most popular guy in the building for calling it right now. The puck bouncing out. Bezukladnikov pulling it down. Right behind him is Petrovici. Takes him with a cross check, and at 6:04 of the first period, the Russians are back on the power play again.
Klanzikov, I've been doing that all week long and getting it right. One or two stumbles on that guy's name. Boy, 14 letters, and those are the only letters that we wrote down to be able to pronounce it. Nikolitin moves in, a grab on him, right out front, and that's cleared.
Very alertly, the Slovak player is getting Hartman's stick back in his hand for him. He had lost it.
Good pressure from the Russians. Denisov. Nikolitin hit hard. Denisov and Nikolitin work well together. Nikolitin in the corner, moving it along the boards, trying to get it away from Stasny. Bacha is out there. Working hard is Karpov. Denisov, and that's cleared as far as the blue line. 1:20 remaining on the power play. Nikolitin right out front. A chance, and Vinogradov got it out front. Another comes in. The open net is there, and it's pumped right through the crease. Nikolitin is brought down, and Vinogradov was working hard. Denisov can't get on the puck. That comes to the far side, and Palfi gets a touch and gets it out. Davidov with 57 seconds. Taps that back, and the Russians came so close to opening their account. Shendelev, Hasak, and that's shot all the way down, and Svela will chase this one. Svela turns around and whips it out into neutral ice territory. Sorokin along the boards. 30 seconds on the power play. Usmanov taken out of the play, and again Svela gets right in the thick of it. Bouncing puck is cleared as far as the blue line, and the Russians doing a great job with Kudashov along the boards. Kudashov is muscled off the play, but somehow he gets the puck back to Sorokin. A gentle tip in, and Usmanov was right there to deflect it. 1 second on the power play. Kudashov, the Slovaks are back at full strength. Petrovici bounces it off the boards for Svela. Svela finds an opening and decides to shoot it all the way down. Sorokin is there, no whistle on the play.
The Russians wondering what they've got to do to score a goal. They've put a lot of passes together. They really didn't do bad with either one of their power plays, but they're yet to put anything past Hartman.
Shendelev working with Torgeyev. That bounces right out front of the Slovak net, and here comes Janos. Janos with Evtukin on him. Janos gets over the blue line, and offside is the call.
Janos losing out just before the blue line. Petrovici is straight ahead of him. Good look at Hartman, who's happy to see the play going the other way and the face-off actually being out of his zone. He has been up against it.
He really has looked strong, and so much for the comments before the game about his ability to perform.
It's got to be said that the Russians have had a few pucks just bouncing the wrong way for them as well. They've just been unlucky a couple of times.
Davidov went in and decided to pass instead of shoot. Coming up to the 9-minute mark. Loose puck in the high slot. Evtukin picks it up now on the hash marks and dumps it in. Evtukin moves in front, and it doesn't come his way. Satin, this guy has been a real find for the Slovaks. That comes up on the wing, and Smerchak tips it in. Ivanov is dumped. Evtukin at the red line. Slams on the brakes, tried to feed it through to Tarasenko. That didn't work, and the Russians keep it in. The shot goes off the backboards, and here comes the Slovaks. Petrovici having problems with Kudashov. Tertishny on the far side as Shargorovsky feeds it up. The Russians moving a lot smoother than they have in the past. Karpov trying to split the D. Dano taken off the play, and the Slovaks happy just to get it out of the zone. Tertishny along the boards. That's batted right back in. Bacha goes in a hurry. Hartman at the 10-minute mark gets it as far as the hash marks. Again, the Russians pop it in. Karpov on this side, Varitsky on the other side. Bacha is deep. Bacha right up the middle. Good pass. Stasny coming in, drops it back. Dano unable to get a handle on that. Chagorodsky working with Karpov, and Karpov goes in, takes a shot. Hartman goes down. Marchenko throws that up to Dano. Dano now working hard on the left side. Dano does a 360. Still with Dano. Long pass right in front. Stasny right in front of the net.
The Slovaks strike first, and if you had to pick a guy, who's going to do it? Stasny right in front of the goal. There he is. Marchenko and Dano will collect assists on the goal. Marchenko pushing the puck ahead. Dano just keeping the wheels going. Backhands the puck through. Stasny's all by himself. He puts a backhander over Zuyev for the opening goal of this game. Zuyev down on his knees. Stasny getting the puck by him. The Slovaks are on the board first.
The face-off, the Slovaks right back in there. Long shot. Hasak. Hasak again providing the physical stuff for the Slovaks. Great start, 11 minutes gone on the period. Sorokin up to Nicolishin. Long shot, an easy one, but the rebound again comes out, and Hartman is letting the rebounds come out. Hasak is double teamed, and that's bounced off the boards by Nicolishin. Sakaric to the far side of the rink. Long clearance. Sorokin being shadowed by Kolnick. Sorokin, big pass up to the blue. Konsek. And the Slovaks are looking sharp out there with the short passes. Nicolishin goes for a break as Sakaric drops it back. Svela. Konsek. And it's dumped all the way in. Guzmanov is in there in a hurry. Svela. Sakaric, and Svela now starts it up. A long pass. And again, Konsek moves around and tries to get something going. Sakaric, the big defender, throws it in deep. Sorokin. Kudashov. Konsek waiting for that loose puck. It doesn't come his way. And number 9, Kudashov, can't get it out of the zone. Konsek trying to spin around to take the shot. He's taken off the puck. And at the last moment, release the shot. Zuyev grabs it.
Konsek did a good job to try and fight Alexander Smirnov off. He had number 5 all over him. Look at Dano's backhand pass to Stasny, who just lifts it upstairs for the first goal.
Face off deep in Russian territory. Petrovichki can't get it back, and that goes into the corner, rattled to the far side. Satin chases his man and takes him out of the play, but the Russians come up with it. Russians playing some good hockey. Evtukin comes in, takes a shot. Hartman got a piece of it. Smerchak got it up along the boards. Smerchak, Guzmanov going in. That's tipped out of the zone, and both teams really are playing some good hockey out there. As we expected, it's very physical indeed.
Petrovici asking the linesman why he blew the whistle. Janos makes his way to the bench. A goal and 4 assists, 5 points in 5 games for Branislav Janos.
He's one guy who really has impressed. 23 years old, great future. And I know a lot of teams in Europe are looking at this guy. Face off to the top of the circle. Both teams getting set out there. 1-0 the score. Stasny, the only one to put the puck in the net so far. Karpov going in. Stasny breaks to the left as the Slovaks look down the ice. Long pass up on the wing. That goes the distance. Icing is the call.
Well, I don't know if the Slovakian defensemen were just bored on that play or not, but there wasn't a lot of direction involved there. It just literally drilled down the ice. The faceoff will come back to the side of Hartman.
Well, My colleague picked the Slovaks before the game to win this one. I've gone with the Russians. And right now the Slovaks are leading 1-0, 13:07 the time gone on the period. Marchenko. It's only a friendly wager, folks. Bezuklednikov goes in after Bacha. Bacha along the boards. Pass up the middle. Palfi races in there. Loose puck inside, and then right out front. Backhander from Stasny was a weak one. Palfi is dumped. Stasny moves in. Shargorodsky providing the physical work for the Russians.
Could have given him a rope on that one. Holding is the call. The American referee could see it all the way. He was only about 5 feet away from the play. Shargorodsky goes to the box for Russia. Stasny again buzzing around the goal. You see Shargorodsky manhandling his man off the puck. Zuyev covering it, but the Russians are issued a holding call at 13:32 of the period.
Face off again deep in Russian territory. 6 for 27 on the power play. The Slovaks 70% at killing them off for the Russians. Stasny stays out there. Dano on the wing, Palfi on the far side. Denisov takes a slice at that and sends it down the ice. Bacha is back. Bacha quickly throws it up on the wing. Marchenko. Bacha. And the Slovaks would love to strike again. They know that they're going to have to build up a strong lead against these guys if they want to go into the next round. The Russians will not sit back. Tarasov rattles that as far as the blue. And the Slovaks now setting it up. Stasny along the boards, all the way back to the blue line. Bacha. Shot right on goal. Zuyev dropped it down. Nikolishin fires it out.
The Russians quickly clear and head for the bench to get a change.
Marchenko with 1:12 remaining on the power play. And the Slovaks getting the change out there too. A lot of time being taken in setting this one up. Back on the attack now. Hasak with a big shot, and Zuyev is tested on these. 65, 70 feet out, but still these guys have to be sharp. Sakarish, 49 seconds, right up to the blue. A little tip there by Kudashov. Roped that one off, and the Russians with Sorokin from a long distance. Sakarish. A little tip forward to Hasak. Hasak motoring at the blue. Hasak still moving in. Drops it back, and not a great pass back. Medrick, 24 seconds on the power play. This hasn't been a great power play for the Slovaks, and now Hasak brings it up at center. Berezin stays on him. Tipped over on the wing. The Russians closing them down right on the blue. Torgeyev working up. Torgeyev right in front. That's in the net! Torgeyev crashed right into Hartman. It took a long time for that puck to reach the back of the net.
Interesting goal. Torgeyev getting it a shorthanded effort. Hearn was right behind Torgeyev. Torgeyev was clearly in the crease, but Hearn doesn't seem troubled by that. The goal is going to be allowed to stand. The Russians on a shorthanded effort coming up big. Torgeyev getting the goal. Evtyukin giving the assist.
Great job by Evtyukin coming in and getting the pass right in front of Hartman. 15:30 now gone on the period, and Bopes, you're not happy about that goal.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not happy. It's certainly not a good one for the Slovaks to give up. It's a shorthanded goal for the Russians, and the Slovaks have been setting it up nicely in the past on the power play. The Russians had seemed to be shutting them down. You know, oh well, that can happen, but to give up a shorthanded goal, that's not good. That's still a discretionary call by the referee as to when the guy is in the crease, how he got there, how the puck went in the net. That's none of my business. I guess Hearn knows what he's doing there. That's his call.
Shendelev was right behind him. Difficult to see who actually got the touch. Hasak was also in there with Hartman. Petrovici unable to reach that as the Russians come back quickly. Kudashov, long pass up on the wing. Varitsky right in front. Karpov is there. Smerchiak with Svela muscling behind the net.
Varitsky hit very high. He's holding his face and making his way to the bench.
Flipped right back into the zone, and Svela gets it out high. Move up on the wing. Marchenko, long shot. Coming back on the far side, and the Russians flip that all the way down the ice. Hartman is well out of his net. Pushed up on the left wing, and back come the Slovaks. Both teams are trying to get a change out there. Janosch, good little move. How did he get away with that? Puts it in. The shot comes in. Zuyev goes down. Satin got a piece of that, but just couldn't hit the net. Denisov on the far side of the rink. Denisov is hit nicely by Svela. Vinogradov is slowed down by a hook, and the Slovaks are given as good as they get out there. Another whistle on the plate. Varitsky will receive attention in the dressing room.
Like I said, Paul, while you were calling the action, you could see Varitsky getting off the ice as quickly as he could. He took a high hit along the boards, and he's been cut, which appears to be over the eye. It was hard to see. There he is. He comes off the boards, and he's down. He quickly makes his way to the bench, and he's now gone to the dressing room for some kind of medical attention.
From the face-off, pushed along the boards at 16:45. Sorokin is back. Smirnov is out front. Long clearance. No icing is the call. Hartman gets it up nicely. Dano throws it to the far side. Palffy going down hard. Berezin takes him out of the play. The Russians started back up slowly. Kudashov hits the blue and tries to squeeze right through. Hartman says, no way, I'm hanging on to that. Guzmanov was cruising on the left wing.
The Russians seem to have picked up their game a little since the goal, the shorthanded goal that is, by Torgeyev. But the big line for the Slovakians is still putting pressure on. Stasny, Dano, Palffy. Our report before the game from the Slovakian management was that Dano has a very very sore lower back. I'm sure a lot of guys would like to be able to skate like him with a sore back.
Evtukin pushed that through, and Smerchak cleared it away. Evtukin tried to grab it again, but it bobbles out to Ivanov. He shoots it all the way down the ice. And the Slovaks with Marchenko bring it up. Palffy. Stasny in front of his own net, hits the blue, and a long pass right up the middle is intercepted. That was intended for Palffy. Tapped right back into the Russian zone. Shendelev. Off the boards. Some good pressure from the Slovaks as Stasny and Palffy close it down on the far side of the rink. Stasny, a little tip over. That's pumped in. Bacha goes in. Shendelev. Final 2 minutes of the period. All the way down to Medrick. 1-1 the score here. This is a playoff game, a quarterfinal game. The winner goes on to play against... Who do they play against? Sweden.
Absolutely. We've got to get our notes sorted out here, Paul. That's right. We've had the Canadians win today. They beat the Czech Republic. We've seen the Finns win their game against the USA. The Finns will have the Canadians. The Swedes will have the winner of this game. You woke me up on that as well. We've had so many games going the last few days that we had to remember that we had a game earlier which saw the Swedes win.
Swedes beat the Germans in a very, very tight, slow-moving game. Push out by Kolnick. Shot back in by Karpov. Tight checking in the neutral zone as Karpov picks it up. Karpov is dumped, and the Slovaks now start up quickly. Long shot. Zuyev got in front of that. The rebound comes out. It's kept in by Shakaris. Hasak had that go off a pad. Good play by Hasak to get it back on the D. Time ticking down on the period. Konsek. He's robbed. Denisov. Shot on the target, and Hartman comes out and smothers that.
Denisov stays on the ice. Bezuk-Kladnikov going in for the rebound. Denisov with 3 goals and an assist in the first 5 games of these Olympics for the Russian team. He's been another pleasant surprise. Normally a third liner, getting plenty of action and coming through for Coach Tikhonov.
Coming up to the final minute of play, the Slovaks moving it to the far side of the rink. Petrovichki tried to poke it in, and the Russians now with Nicolishin. Nicolishin throws it up. That deflected nicely for them. Bouncing puck goes in behind the red line. Petrovichki getting back. Denisov waiting in the circle. Nicolishin now moves it in, and that's poked away. Smerchak tries to get it. Zvela goes in hard. Petrovichki along the boards, and the Slovaks getting back in numbers. Zvela and Nicolishin collide. Nicolishin comes up with a puck. Stopped just at the top of the circle. Petrovichki. Petrovichki goes in, and Satin right there. Satin scores! Zuyev down on his knees, is not happy with that.
Satan's on his knees as well. He did a little war dance and jumped right up in the air and came down on his knees. He's a happy guy. That'll be Satin's 8th goal of the '94 Olympic Games. He is one happy character. He did a great job of controlling the pass. Petrovichki's going down with him. The puck comes off a stick. It hits Satin up in the chest area. Goes right down to the ice. He quickly slams a backhander behind Zuyev. Good reflexes from Satan. There's the pass going off him. It's down on the ice, and just as quickly he bats it into the goal on the backhand.
Zuyev did not look ready for that. 19 seconds left on the period. Zuyev was back in his net, and as I say, he really wasn't set. 2-1 the score here in the first period. Kudashov gets it back onto the D. That's tapped up. Guzmanov taken out of the play, and Sorokin picks it up in his own zone. Sorokin, Kudashov, and there goes the buzzer. For many people, a surprise scoreline, 2-1. The Slovaks leading the Russians after 20 minutes of hockey, but still a long way to go.
These two teams know each other. They've watched each other play. The coaches have all been attending the other team's games. Tikhonov, no doubt, has his notes in place. He'll want to talk things over with these guys between the periods. The Slovakians know enough about the Russians to be out in front by a goal after the first 20 minutes of play.
The Slovakians are leading, but the Russians really do look to be in charge at times. They're playing some smooth hockey. They're applying the pressure. And I wouldn't rule them out of this. They got a good team. They got a great coach. 2-1 after 20 minutes of hockey. We've got more action coming up. We're going to take a short break, so stay with us. Second period in a moment. Welcome back to the start of the second period. The Russians, playing from right to left, are trailing the Slovaks 2-1. Icing is the call as Zuyev adjusts his headgear between the pipes. And Julius Supler must be happy with what he has seen so far. 40 minutes of hockey to go, but Supler has got to be happy. His team are leading, they're playing good hockey, but the Russians are playing good hockey too.
The Slovakians continue to impress with their pass work. They really do move the puck around nicely, and they make the most of their scoring opportunities.
All the way back to Smirnov. Hartman took that away, and it bounces to Stasny. Stasny can't hang on to it. The Russians now in the circle, trying to get in position to take a shot. Shendelev had moved way up, and that didn't work, and a chance now. Dano right out front, and Zuyev went down, but there's no one there to pick it up. That goes all the way down the ice. Smerchak feeds it through. A little tip up on the wing, and that's too far for Dano. Icing is the call. Stasny tried to set him up. Sorokin mixing it up for a moment there. The officials got in quickly. Earlier on today, the Canadians beat the Czechs in overtime. The Swedes beat the Germans. And So we know that Canada will play the Finns, and it'll either be Russia, Slovakia against the Swedes. The Finns, of course, beat the Americans. It was a disappointing contest.
The Americans were never really in it. I thought they were going to come out blazing. They didn't play all that bad, I suppose. At the end of the day, you've got to look at how good of a team the Finns really have. They are a solid team. They continue to not give up many goals, and they continue to put the puck in the net. A 6-1 defeat over the U.S. was probably justified, and it was about right, because the Finns just took control right from the start of the game.
There really wasn't a loser in the Canada-Czech game. The Czechs played really well for most of the game. Went into overtime, and that's how it was decided, on a goal by Korea. But for my money, I thought the Czechs, for most of the game, outplayed the Canadians. I know one or two people don't agree with that, but that's the way it is. Hasak taken out of the play, and the Russians now starting to muscle in their own zone from behind the goal. Kolnick tries to get it out front. That comes to the far side. Good defensive stuff as Ivanov goes after his man. Shendelev moves to the far side. Hasak, Eptiukin, Konsak working hard. Konsak, number 22, hanging on the stick for a moment. That comes back to Zakaris. Zakaris working against Eptiukin. Shendelev gets a high stick in there. Shendelev is brought down now, and the loose puck in center is picked up by the big defenseman Zakaris. Zakaris against Eptiukin. Eptiukin is rattled into the woodwork. Zakaris is there with him, and that's shot all the way down the ice.
This game has gotten very physical. Both teams are really laying the lumber on each other, and they're playing the body all over the ice, even away from the puck. You can just see people sprawled out from time to time. You're wondering why. Take a good look and listen closely. You can hear the pads being whacked with the sticks. It's really gotten to be a rough game.
We're going to take a short break. Stay with us. More action in just a moment. Welcome back. 2-1 to score here in the second period, and both teams settling into a hard-hitting, fast-moving game. They know that the winner goes on, and the loser, well, just have to fight it out for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Right from the face-off, the Slovaks, who really have been impressive throughout this entire tournament, battle to extend their lead. Janosch moves into the slot, lets the shot go. Zuyev out of the net. A high puck. Satin couldn't get a swipe at that, and the Russians will just clear it out of the zone. That goes all the way down the ice. And once again, the Slovaks come close.
Zuyev made a good save through traffic, and the Russians really didn't make much of the clearance effort, taking the icing call, and the pressure will come right back into their end again. Petrovici, a goal and 6 assists, another guy who's been impressive.
These guys are having a good time.
I wonder if they know the cameras are on them.
Probably not. 12:16 gone in the period. 2-1 to score. The Russians taking a while to get settled here. From the face-off, that's pushed away. Shagorodsky, Veritsky on the far wing. Veritsky moving quickly. Veritsky taken off the play just inside the blue, and that's flipped in. Veritsky, Karpov work well together. They're out on the ice now. Svela taps it up on the right side. That goes as far as the hash marks. Bezukletnikov in the corner, rusts it up. Svela. Satin took a hit, and the Slovaks from the far side of the rink. Veritsky goes after his man, and Shagorodsky brings it down, passes it up to Karpov, but that was always going to be behind him. Svela in the corner. Karpov goes in. Satin on the wing tries to chop his man down, and the Slovaks with 4 or 5 players back at one time. From the blue line, Petrovici unable to keep it in, and that goes down the ice, and the Russians called for icing yet again.
Veritsky and Karpov wanted off the ice. So the icing was probably the safe thing to do. That line had been out there a while. Maritsky has returned from the dressing room having been stitched up, or at least having had an ice pack or something put on his face. He looks a little bit better than he did, but he carries on. Maritsky and Karpov have been a pretty good duo out there for the Russians.
Karpov, as we told you a couple of days ago, had that verbal set to Tikhonov, and Karpov seems to be playing a lot better now.
He certainly has been motivated by something. I don't know if it was the thought of flying home and not having anything to do for a couple of weeks, or the idea that possibly he knows if he keeps on playing like he can play, that there might be a contract waiting for him at the end of these Olympic Games. There's a guy right there, Stastny, well up into his 30s, 5 goals and 4 assists. There are 4 NHL teams have already expressed an interest in Peter Stastny, and he's still going on in the Olympic Games here.
Bacha took the shot, and we're talking about going right to the playoffs after the Olympics for possibly Stastny and a few others. A lot of pushing in the corner with Dano mixing it up, getting the stick up high. And again, the Russians just bang it off the boards and shoot it down the ice. And this is not typical Russian hockey. Well, there's an Austrian coach who looks a bit tired up above.
And the Finnish coach who's just simply enjoying himself, and why not? He keeps winning. He looks relaxed. He's watching potential competition for the future. And like you said, Paul, Ken Tyler sitting behind him doesn't really know what to think. He's battling it out for 11th and 12th place against the Norwegians.
Tyler's not really a happy camper right now. He felt that the Austrians should have won the last game that they played against the French.
They lost it in the shootout.
There were 1 or 2 controversial things that happened in that game that didn't please him. Zuyev going down, making the save, the second save. Bacha really keeping it low, and Zuyev providing the rebound for Palfi. .13:41 gone on the period. Palfi is quite an exciting player.
Stastny taking the draw. We were just saying that 4 NHL teams have been looking at him. Every time this guy thinks he's going to get out of ice hockey, somebody keeps asking him to go on. He had a great career with the Nordiques. He played a while with New Jersey. His family lives in New Jersey, wife and 4 kids. And Stastny, it must be a good feeling to still be wanted by a handful of clubs.
Stastny got it in front. Palfi moved in quickly, and we have a holding call on the play.
Referee Hearn, the American, going to the timekeeper's box, signaling the holding call. Action is tough around the front of the goal. Smirnov taking his man out. He'll go to the penalty box, making a very solid attempt to keep people away from Zuyev.
Let's take a look at this again.
Palfi having a good go. Smirnov has a grip on him.
Kudashov also came in to slow him down. Hasak from the face-off circle. Torgeyev rockets that off the boards, and that goes the distance. Sakarish is there for the Slovaks. Torgeyev is moving in to cut him down. Pass up to Hasak. 14:11 gone on the period. 2-1 the score. Sakarish is calling for it. It doesn't come his way, and that bounces off Ivanov, and that one hurt. He got up slowly. Torgeyev. Svela holds on to him for a moment. Torgeyev keeps moving, and Torgeyev gets a rough ride from Sakarish and Svela.
The Slovakians realizing they had to get back in a hurry. 4 of them coming back to take Torgeyev out. Torgeyev has scored a shorthanded goal in this game already.
Flipped all the way in by Konstek, and that comes all the way down the ice. Sakarish has to get back in a hurry. Bezukladnikov is there. Gets on the puck and taps it along the boards. Some good stuff from number 25. Konstek moves in and tries to pry it free, and he does. Bezukladnikov gets on his feet. Hasak through the circle. Hasak starts it up slowly. 49 seconds on the power play. Hasak sees a wall of Russian defenders on the line. Hasak is dumped, and Tartishny battles that and gets it down the ice.
Russians doing a good job of killing the penalty off. Smirnov down to 30 seconds now on his penalty.
Shargorodski to the far side of the rink. The Russians again just shoot it out of the zone. Zvela goes back. Nikolitin is there to apply some pressure. Coming back on the attack. 14 seconds now on the power play. The Slovaks moving quickly. Petrovicki, good pass to the winger Janos. Janos unable to control that all the way back to the D. Couple of seconds now. And that's the end of the power play, but the Slovaks keep throwing the puck around. A lot of movement out front. Davidov is applying a lot of pressure, but that's pumped to the far side. Smerchak, good pass behind the net. Coming out front, the shot comes in. And Zuyev gloves that one down as he moved out to cut down the angle. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us. More action coming up in a moment. Welcome back. Second period action. 2-1 the score. The Slovaks still hanging on to that lead. 16-14 gone on the period as that bobbles over. Bacha moves in, backhands that off a skate. Bacha again throws it in behind the goal. Stasny in the corner trying to move it out. He's got 3 players to bring it through, and Stasny working with Dano. Dano now moves in. Sorokin lays the lumber on him. Dano trying to get it out front. Palffy is right there. The wraparound doesn't come, but Dano hangs onto it. He takes the shot, and that bounces all the way back onto Marchenko's stick. He fires it in, and the Russians come out with it. Kudashov along the boards, whistles that to the far side, and the Russians now try to set it up. Bacha, the big defender, comes up to the blue. Bacha at the red. A little poke check there at the last moment by Sorokin, sends it over the plexi, and we'll have another face-off on the play.
Bacha trying to do it all on his own. The big defenseman not staying back for anything, really off to the races on that one. But going over the plexiglass, both teams changing things up. Tikhonov just never stops on the Russian bench. Every time the players come off, he's got a few words of wit for every one of them. Hasak at 17:02 gets that back, and Hasak at a second attempt throws it in the corner. Good stuff from Otto Hasak as that moves along the boards out over the blue, and the Slovaks come out of the zone and went kicking and pushing along there. A little tap back by Shendelev. Ivanov with Torgeyev. Torgeyev and Ivanov, a breakdown of communications. Hasak is there to mix it up. Hasak taken out of the play now by Ivanov, with the puck eventually is kicked out of the zone. Coming up quickly. Love down. Hasak is right back in there, and he clears it into neutral ice territory. Otto Hasak is having a good shift. Davidov got it over to Shendelev. Shendelev fires it forward, and the whistle blows as Beritsky breaks in on Sakaris. Beritsky sporting a plaster and a few stitches underneath it between the eyes. But back on the ice, and the Russians need this guy. A great little playmaker.
I said before, he works well with Karpov, number 14. And these two really do like to set themselves up out there. Face off in neutral ice territory, coming up to the 18-minute mark. Svela pumps it to the far side. Tartishny with Smerchak. Smerchak, Tartishny. Some good stuff from the Russians. Petrovicki is in there. 1, 2, 3 Slovaks, and that bounced the far way. Satin has to get back into it. Coming back on the attack is Karpov. Karpov breaking hard now. Karpov trying to get out front. Karpov is there. And the shot deflected away. Shargorodski tried to get it out front. And we have a whistle on the play. Karpov trying to do it all.
Good move by Janos, quickly getting Hartman his stick again. That's something the players will always look to do. The goalie loses his stick, get it back to him or give him yours. Do whatever you got to do. Close call as Karpov put a few nice moves on. Karpov going around the outside. Janos trying to hook him up. Great lateral movement from Karpov. He went right to the front of the goal in a hurry, unable to put it in. There was quite a bit of confusion around the front of Hartman's goal. Svella slow going to the bench. Another guy taking a high hit. He looks like he's lost his wind on the play, and he's also got a little bit of blood coming out of the nose area.
There seems to be a lot of high sticking in this competition. Pucks flying up, hitting people in the face. So we can catch this one again. Svella going in, and there's the elbow.
Like I said, the gloves, the elbows, everything was up high around the back of the net.
Svella still receiving attention on the bench. 2-1 the score. The Slovaks are leading this one. From the face-off, that's rattled off the boards. A little tip by Shagorodsky keeps it in, and the Russians continue to apply the pressure. Veritsky along the boards. Palfi goes after him. The shot comes in. Hartman is there, loves it down.
Player number 44, Lubersheva, 2 minutes penalty for roughing. The penalty served by player number 9, time 38-22.
Plavuchka going to the penalty box to serve Svella's penalty. They keep showing Svella on the bench. He is not going to go over to the penalty box. He was given a roughing call, but they're staying with him on the bench as he gets his nose worked on. Number 9 has gone to the penalty box to serve his penalty. The Slovaks are short-handed.
18:39 remaining in the period. Face-off in Slovak territory. Nikolitin gets it back. Tarasov, big shot, that deflects away. Tarasov picks it up and throws it to the far side of the rink. Nikolitin breaks on the right. Evtukin fired it in. Coming up to the final minute of the period, and that's dumped all the way down the ice. Zuyev slows it down for Tarasov. Vinogradov moves up on the right side, and the Slovaks just fire it all the way down the ice, and we're going to have another penalty on the play. Cross-checking is the call, and Hearn seems to be quite adamant about that.
Supler looking on from the Slovakian bench. He's not happy. Marchenko makes his way to the box. Cross-checking is the call on him at 19:12. The Slovakians are now down 2 men, a 5-on-3 opportunity for the Russians. Vinogradov getting rid of the puck. Marchenko taking him out of the play. Hearn wasn't far away from it, and he called it as a cross-check.
Both teams taking a while to get into this face-off, which is outside the Slovak zone. Svella looks to be a lot better than he was a moment ago. Nikolitin steps into the face-off circle. Nikolitin drops it back, and the Russians started off. Vinogradov on the far side moves up. Smerchak defending. Vinogradov on the far side, right out front. Nikolitin pops it! 24, power play goal.
The Russians, with a lot of time, force it to the front of the goal, but Nikolitin gets his stick on it. Hartman unable to come up with the save. And with less than a minute to go in this second period, the Russians with an important goal to come back on level terms now with the Slovakians. 2-2 the score. Puck moved in down low. Torgeyev is around the front of the goal. Nikolitin is there. Nikolishin takes credit for it. Both players having a poke at it. Sakaris trying to clear the net.
Sakaris has got the stick up too high in the first instance. Then by the time he got it down, the goal had been scored. But Nikolishin, you can say, gets credit for that. Torgeyev was right in there again. He picked up the first goal for the Russians. 27 seconds now on the period. 2-2 the score. An all-important goal for Nikolishin. Offside is the call.
Kuzmanov ahead of the play and also taking a hit right as the whistle went. Look at Nikolishin on the bench. Puck moved down low by Sorokin. Going to the goal quickly was Vinogradov. Nikolishin alertly getting a stick on the puck, and the Russians have got their second goal of the game.
Still a power play situation out there.
Marchenko still sitting in the penalty box. His penalty will not expire until 1 minute and 12 seconds into the third period, unless the Russians score, of course.
Stasny and Nikolishin go at it. Smirnov rockets that into the Slovak zone. It comes all the way back to the blue. And the Russians now playing some good hockey out there. That comes back. Sorokin fakes the pass over, got the shot away, and that bobbles right beside Hearn, and the buzzer goes, but that doesn't mean the end of hostilities out on the ice. There's going to be a penalty.
Well, you can see Hearn just waiting. He's going to pick a couple of players out of this one. Bacha in front of the goal, really roughing it up with Nikolishin. There were a couple of cross checks issued. We'll wait and see what Hearn has to say about it. Right at the 40-minute mark, there's the cross check from Nikolishin. Bacha, never shy about moving away from that kind of stuff, comes back with one of his own.
Bacha towers over Nikolishin, but Nikolishin stood his ground, got the lumber out, and started chopping wood.
Tikhonov wants to make sure of what the call is. Marchenko in the box anyways. He'll be there until 1 minute and 12 seconds into the third and final period, unless the Russians score. Nikolishin and Bacha each given cross-checking penalties.
Teams going to the dressing room. Break coming up. Stay with us. Third period coming up. Welcome back. 2-2 the score, the start of the third period. Karpov circles back. Sorokin gets the puck. The Russians are on the move. The Russians looking stronger as this game goes on. 57 seconds on the power play. Sakaris moves in after Bezukladnikov. Bezukladnikov bounces it off the boards. Karpov unable to get it, but Sorokin does. Sorokin in over the red. Karpov lets it ride to Torgeyev. Torgeyev moves it along, back to Smirnov. The Slovaks set up the box. Vela is back on the ice, right at the side of the net. And the Russians unable to pop it in, with Vela picking up the puck and firing it down the ice. Zuyev is there, and he holds on. And there's a lot of needle going on out there. Every time the play stops, somebody takes a swipe at somebody else. No love lost between these two teams, that's for sure.
Definitely not. These teams are both having a good chop at each other every opportunity that they're given. It's rough along the boards, and in front of the goal, they really do get the axes out.
Face-off. Vinogradov wanted that, and the puck was held behind the net. Davidov goes one way, and Evtukin picks it up now. Good move by Evtukin to get away from Dano. Pass up on the wing. That didn't work, and the Russians are stopped right at the blue line. 5 seconds on the power play. Evtukin way deep. Tarasov starts to move it up, but he's squeezed out of the play. Evtukin over the blue. That comes out. And it's flipped in the central ice area. Hasak moved in, and the shot came from the right wing. Vinogradov to Evtukin. Evtukin flips that through. It didn't work. Svela got back in a hurry. And a bouncing puck is picked up by Hasak. Hasak at the blue. Good stuff by Vinogradov to get back into the play and break that up. Smirchak is beaten at the blue line. Sorokin, long shot, that's gloved down, and Hartman hangs onto it.
Shot coming in. Hartman making the glove save. He wanted to keep the puck going. He was going to keep the play and the action moving. He had a defenseman next to him, but the Russians were quick to get on top of them as well. He was forced to take the whistle. Both teams changing again. This type of game, with it being very niggly, the sticks flying, a lot of hooking, it's rough in front of the net. The teams will keep changing quicker and quicker as the game goes on. We're in the third period now, and both teams are starting to tire.
Petrovitsky against Kudashov. Janosch fanned on the clearance back. That comes out. Sorokin can't trap it. Smirnov being chased. That goes the distance. And play really has broken down here. 2-2 the score for Gayev and Nikolishin for the Russians. Stasny and Satin for the Slovaks.
Score is tied at 2. There are less than 20 minutes of hockey to play here, so neither team are going to want to give anything up. So the game does appear to have slowed down. It's because both teams know defensively they've got to do the job and then work the puck forward.
Smirchak being shadowed on the play, and Smirchak throws it into the near side. A long pass up the middle. Kladnikov went in hard. Kudashov in the corner. Kudashov tries to get that out. Svela got the skate on it and passes it up on the wing. The Slovaks now coming back hard. Janosch against Sorokin. Still Janosch. Sorokin brings him down, and that comes all the way out. Karpov tries to set it free, and he does. Smirchak going back. Long shot from Guzmanov. And that ricochets all around the boards. Tertishny quickly out of the zone. Veritsky will break in there. Dano off the boards away from Karpov, looking for the give and go. Stasny slams on the brakes and gets it up to Dano. Dano drops it back nicely. The shot comes in from Sakarish, and that bounces all the way down the ice. 3 minutes gone. Marchenko gets back in a hurry. Veritsky is on him. As far as the blue line, that's trapped in by Tertishny. Karpov pass into the high slot area, and Palfi picks it up. Palfi breaking quickly, has Stasny. Palfi tries to feed it right through, and Zuyev gets it away, and Veritsky picks it up. Bezukladnikov lays it off now, and Veritsky working with Karpov. They've been out there a long time. They want to get a change. Hartman clears it to the near side. Dano squeezed out of the play by Karpov. Evtyukin is out there now, and he runs into Marchenko. Puck rides all the way to the near side, and giveaway there with Evtyukin. Evtyukin tried to get it in front. Torgeyev is dumped as he was trying to work out from beside the net. And both teams getting the sticks up high, and whistle on the plate.
That was a very long shift for Dano and Palfi. Peter Stasny had made his way to the bench. Hasek had replaced him, but the action kept going, and Dano was unable to get off, as well as Palfi. They were stuck out there, and they're well happy to go to the bench now.
Evtyukin is another guy who really has impressed, only 23 years old, and as you said, folks, a lot of NHL scouts here watching these guys.
They are, and a few of the Russian guys are 25, 26 years old, and now with mass exodus of players that have left Russia, these guys are getting the chance to shine, and they're players who have been unknown commodities coming into the Olympic Games.
Really has given them a golden opportunity. Konsak along the boards. Denisov rides him out of the play, and the Slovaks come up with it on the right side of the rink. Looking to get it organized at the blue. Hasek is dumped nicely. Hasek was cutting into the slot area.
It's a good hit to put Hasek down. It was a nice hip check. Hasek just went with it, and he got right back up very quickly.
Medrek up to Sakaris. Hasek again. Hasek tees it up. His shot is deflected away. Konsak goes in, and Sorokin got a piece of him. Vinogradov circles, gets it up to the top of the circle, and the Russians again throw it in the zone. 5 minutes gone on the period. Medrek wanted that one. It didn't happen. Hartman shot it away. Sorokin, a little tap forward. The shot. Hartman makes the save. Svella picks up the loose puck. Both teams changing on the fly as the Slovaks. Janos flips it in. Zuyev hangs on to that, and we'll have another face-off.
Zuyev not given a lot of options. The Slovakian right on top of him. One Russian defenseman back. Svella stays out on the ice. Now he makes his way over toward the bench. Svella took the hit on the nose earlier. He's having a good look at the bench. You can see Supler having a few words, giving out the command as to what he wants to happen. Now Svella circles back. He'll line up at the blue line.
Petrovicki against Bezukladnikov. 5:17 gone on the third period. 2-2. We've already seen one game go into overtime. That was Canada against the Czech Republic. The Canadians came out on top. Puck bounces nicely for Shagorodsky. A long clearance in with Svella picking it up along the board. Svella looking to get it to Petrovicki. That didn't work, and the Russians now from a sharp angle moving right in. Hartman goes down. Varitsky was right there. Hartman didn't know he had the puck.
You can see how quick Varitsky really is. His hands were going, the legs were moving. He walked right around a few people, right in on top of Hartman. Varitsky goes left. Two Slovakians go right. He's right in on top of Hartman. Petrovicki and Bezukladnikov going to the penalty box for roughing.
Hartman's looking around. Where is it? Where is it? Svella moves in quickly to cover the rear entrance.
As I said, you can see the two players sitting in the box. It's Petrovicki and Bezukladnikov roughing the call for their involvement with each other after the whistle.
Face-off in neutral ice territory with 5:40 gone on the period. Still a tie game out there. Marchenko in front of his own goal. Marchenko onto the left wing. And the Slovaks now coming down the ice. Stasny being hooked on the play. Stasny puts a grab on himself. And coming back quickly. Atyukin. Denisov. Torgeyev. Halfie. And no one really is being allowed to move out there. Ivanov hits the red and just fires it all the way in. That comes to the far side. And it's cleared to an open wing. Ivanov waits for the change and just drops it off. And here come the Russians with Tarasov. Tarasov putting it up to Nikolishin. That didn't work, and it goes all the way down the ice. Getting back in a hurry is Svella. Svella off the boards, but Nikolishin is there. Nikolishin falls. That comes to the side of the net. Hartman got a stick on it. Chikaris puts the big grab on his man. And Nikolishin goes after Hasak. Hasak drops it back. Nikolishin falls. Hasak breaks up the middle. And Palfi has it on the wing. Palfi, one move, circles back, tries to get it out front, and Tarasov intercepts. A long pass up to Kudashov is a two-liner.
Kudashov had the right idea, but he was 2 lines ahead of the pass coming at him.
Face-off just inside the blue. And again, Slovaks are taking considerable time to set this one up. 2-2 the score. Now Hasak is ready as he moves into the face-off circle. Kudashov is there for the Russians. Kudashov is not there for the Russians any longer. Berezin, who has been fairly quiet in this game, moves in. That puck bobbles out, and Svella gives it up to Smerchak. Smerchak whistles that in a hurry. Janos overskated it. Berezin. Every time I say someone is quiet, they usually come up and score a goal. Berezin gets the shot on goal, and again, Hartman allows that rebound to come right out. Sorokin has to go back. 8 seconds on the penalties. Shot all the way down the ice, and this game really has come to a grinding halt right now.
Certainly has. Both teams are just watching each other closely. We're not seeing great scoring opportunities. The shots are coming in from quite a way out. The rebounds are there, but the players are being blanketed away from them. Bezukladnikov and Petrovici getting ready to step out of the penalty box.
Earlier on today, the Canadians beat the Czechs in overtime, so they advanced. Finns beat the USA. Sweden beat Germany. And what's going to happen here? Canadians play the Finns, and the Swedes will play the winner of this game. Ivanov skated through the circle, and here come the Russians. 3 players hitting the red line, 4 players now. As Bezukladnikov joined the crowd, Karpov takes his man out, but the Slovaks come up quickly. Little drop pass, Karpov is all over, takes a big slash, and Janos taken out of the play, back on the attack. Baritsky moves in against Smerchak, and a lot of lumber flying out there as Karpov is pushed out of the play. Smerchak unable to get it by Bezukladnikov, and Karpov tries to keep it in. Eventually the Slovaks shoot it right down the ice. Icing the call yet again.
Svella feeling like he wanted to change, and possibly the rest of the Slovakians did as well. Ice the puck. Once again, we see another icing. We've had quite a few offsides calls. Both teams not willing to give an inch. 2-2 is the score. Third period action. Both teams looking for the right to advance into the Final Four. Baritsky having his nose, well, between his nose, up between the eyes, actually dabbed again. It's bleeding.
The shot came from Tarasenko. It trickled away, and Bacha pumps that along the boards. Evtukin with Stasny. Shendelev, little clearance. Dano tried to get it out front. Palfi moved in. Dano was there looking for Stasny. Batted away by Ivanov. That goes all the way as far as the blue line. And again, neither team getting quality scoring opportunities. Torgeyev muscles on the blue line. A break now. The shot. Good stuff. As Guzmanov moved in, Torgeyev is there. Tarasenko eventually let the shot go and ended up in the net.
Tarasenko given a rough ride. A good shift for him. Not a bad shot. The idea was right. Hartman had to make the save. Slovakians quick to get back around the net to make sure a rebound wasn't going to be there for anybody. That does not count. The player is not allowed to score himself.
Thanks for that, folks. Face-off comes out of the zone. 8:51 gone on the period. It's still 2-2 out there. Hasak being tied up by Nikolitin. These two are sticking like glue to each other out there. Another face-off, another couple of seconds of play, and this is start-stop action. The crowd are starting to amuse themselves. They're not enjoying what they're seeing on the ice, so they're going through the wave around this rink. The Sweden-Germany game was a lot like this. And if there wasn't much to see in the way of good shots on goal. Swedes did what they had to do to win the game, and that's about it. Nikolitin being bumped along the boards. Medrek goes in hard. Hasek wanted it. Hasek now breaks up the middle. Konsek gets by Vinogradov, and the Slovaks start to work with Konsek right in front. Nikolitin just taps it down the ice, and again, we have a whistle on the play. Well, it's not pretty hockey, but they're not giving anything away out there, that's for sure.
There's the wave once again, Paul. That usually gets everybody going, at least gets the circulation going. They get to stand up and shake a little bit.
Maybe we can get a few of the players to go up there and move with them, get them into the game. Well, the fans are having fun. The players are standing around. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. More action coming up in a moment. Welcome back. Hasak moves into the circle. Kudashov is there too. 17:23 gone on the period. This could go into overtime. 2-2 the score. We've already had one with Canada and the Czechs going the distance. Hasak around the boards. Neither team, as you said, folks, want to give anything away, so we've seen a lot of really boring hockey out there with the teams shooting it down the ice, icing the puck whenever there's the slightest bit of pressure, but you got to respect the fact that they want to go on to the next round and they don't want to give up a silly goal. Konsek feeds it through. Hasak just unable to break through. 2-2 the score. 2 minutes remain on the final period. Smirnov takes a chop at that, gets it out of the zone, and the Slovaks have to get out in a hurry. Coming back on the attack. Both teams running out of time here. It'll go into sudden death overtime unless one of them scores. Bezukladnikov lets the shot go wide of the target. Petrovicki picks it up. Karpov goes after him, and that was a dangerous move, but it worked. Petrovicki gets it back. Petrovicki gets away from Bezukladnikov, comes up on the wing, and Bezukladnikov clears it out, but only as far as the red line. As Villa, oh wow, that hurt. As Villa flattened his own player out there. Karpov. Who's puck? Long shot. I don't know what's going on out there, but these guys are running into each other.
Smirchak seemed to trip over the red line that goes across from the right straight across the end red line. Let's just call it what it is. The end red line. Smirchak just tripped over that. It is getting a bit comical. Both teams are tired. There's a lot of snow on the ice. The puck is bouncing around. Nobody's really had a great goal-scoring opportunity
for a long, long time.
That's right. If it goes on, they're going to be getting on the team bus trying to make it on time for the '98 Olympics.
Stasny inside the blue. 1 minute, 1 second. Halfie tips it in. Shendelev sends it all the way down the ice. Guzmanov goes in quickly. Dano tries to get it out. He's there with Smirchak. A chance as the shot comes in. Hartman makes the save. Marchenko on the far side. Here come the Slovaks. A chance on the left wing. Dano brings it up, and Hartman is down.
You could see all the Slovakian players on the bench banging their sticks on the boards. They were trying to get the referee's attention. Hartman is getting up slowly. Bacha and Stasny out there trying to plead their case. The American referee isn't going to make a call.
The last few seconds of a game. When it's tied like this, it's so important. Let's take a look at this again.
Contact with the goaltender in that area is generally a penalty. The save was made. The Russian player was directed by Bacha right into Hartman. Bacha was the first guy to go screaming to the referee as to why he wasn't making a call.
Hartman appears to be all right. Play continues.
Hearn was just letting Bacha and Stasny know that, in his view, Bacha had directed the Russian player into Hartman. They did give Hartman the time to get himself sorted out again, though.
Bacha with 35 seconds. Bacha. Rink wide pass. The Slovaks moving it up. They've got the big line out there. Palfi tries to get it up, and the Russians get it out. Bacha will just flip it in when he gets the opportunity. Bacha goes back. This comes up from the far side. Marchenko lets it ride. Davidov picks it up and rattles it off the woodwork all the way down the ice. 5 seconds remaining on the game. A long shot. And the buzzer goes as the whistle goes, and once again, folks, we have overtime.
Neither team able to score a goal in the third period. Neither team really had a great goal scoring opportunity. A couple of close calls on bouncing pucks, but it's all down to overtime now.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to sudden death overtime. The Russians playing from right to left. Bopes, you still pick the Slovaks?
Well, I made that call earlier. I'll stick with it.
That's thrown into the corner. Guzmanov against Bacha. That bounces, and Palfi just flips it high up into the lights. That comes down on the red line, and the Russians tap it up in a hurry. Batted down. Palfi throws it on to Sorokin's stick. Stasny is out there, and you're going to see a lot of that number one line, that's for sure. Guzmanov tries to spin around, and he falls. It picks himself up, gets the puck. Berezin moves in quickly, and that's thrown up to Palfi, who gets it up. Stasny looking for somewhere to go, puts it right in center. The backhand shot goes way upstairs. Bacha moving in, Stasny setting him up. And it's all about that first goal out there. They'll go for 10 minutes. If they don't score, then it's a shootout. Tikhonov is not happy about something.
I must admit, Tikhonov looks more relaxed during these Olympic Games than he has ever looked as a coach. He's 65 years old now. His contract is to expire March the 15th. It'd be sad to see the guy leave the sport. I can't see that happening, but the rumor is he's being replaced.
Medrick got the shot in. Konsek goes to the far side. Zakaris is there to tap it in. A good spell here from the Slovaks from the side of the net. Hasak trying to move in closer. Hasak gets a stick way up. 1:03 gone on the period. Kolnick trying to work with Konsek. That doesn't happen. Ivanov gets it out. Zakaris can't trap it, and Medrick gets back. Medrick slices that. Zakaris is there to rattle it off the boards and get it into neutralized territory. Konsek couldn't trap it on the boards, and Zakaris picks it up. Zakaris up on the wing to Medrick. Medrick working up with Kolnick, and again the Russians stop the play before it really gets going. Karpov is taken out of the play. A lot of physical stuff along the boards. The Russians get out of the zone and get right back in again. Veritsky, bouncing puck, eventually comes into neutralized territory. Bezukladnikov. Bezukladnikov took the shot, and that was deflected away as Hasak was calling for that on the wing. Smerchak. 2-2 the score. This is sudden death. First goal wins. Both teams changing on the fly, and again, both teams not trying to give anything away out there.
Still really tight. The bodies are being laid on, and it's rough going along the boards especially.
Bezukladnikov trying to get to the bench. He's been out there for a long shift. Svela fires that to the far side. Davidov gets it out of the zone, and Petrovicki gets it for the Slovaks. Svela looking for a little give and go, and Petrovicki gets it back. Petrovicki goes in on the backhand side. He's taken out of the play, and play continues now. And the whistle blows. Davidov stayed right with Petrovicki.
Davidov did a good job, and he got away with it as well. Petrovicki tried to cut into the goal. Davidov seemed to wipe him out. Hearn doing what he should do, unless it's very blatant or tremendously obvious. Say what you like, he isn't going to call a penalty in overtime. That's exactly what he should do.
You said that 3 times in this competition, and about 10 seconds after every time you said it, there's been a penalty.
Oh, I know. I'm just waiting for something to happen now.
2:41 gone on the 10-minute period, and that bounces to the Russians, and it comes out as far as the blue. Palfi couldn't keep it in. A chance now as Guzmanov goes in on a sharp angle. Hartman goes down. Bacha picks it up right out front. Guzmanov fanned on the shot, and the Slovaks lucky to get away with that. Guzmanov is wheeling and dealing out there. Smirnov along the boards. Loose puck. And again, it's Kuzmanov taking the shot. Hartman going down, getting the pads on it. And now it's the turn of the Russians to apply some pressure. Stasny slams on the brakes on the hash marks. Palffy loses it in the corner, but Stasny picks it up again. A little back chop to Palffy. Palffy, a bad pass from him. Berezin out front and no one there to pick it up. Kudashov was cruising. And the Slovaks, with that slow build-up, just fired in. Marchenko got a piece of it. Again, both teams trying to change out there. Shendelev along the boards. He was shadowed by Kolnick. Shot is well wide of the target, and Hartman goes down on it and took a deflection. And Hartman says, no way I'm going to play with this. Let's have a face-off.
Kuzmanov will go for a line change now. He probably doesn't have tired legs. His arms are probably sore. He had 3 or 4 shots on net during that shift. Hartman holding on to the puck. He'll allow his guys to change up. Kuzmanov on the move earlier during the shift. Big shot taken. Hartman making a nice pad save.
Coming up to the 4-minute mark, Svella at the side of the net. Elects to go up on the left side, breaks into center, throws it up on the right side. Long clearance intended for Kolnick. Icing is the call, so the face-off back in Slovak territory. 2-2 the score, sudden death overtime, and this game is picking up just a little out there. It's starting to get exciting. For a long time, we had nothing at all happening. Most of the action was in the first period with 3 goals. Stasny, Torgeyev, and Satin have made it 2-1 for Slovakia. Nikolitin, the man in your picture right now, leveled the score with just 35 seconds remaining on the second period. And the third period saw nothing at all from either team. Sudden death overtime now, and it's really down to this 10-minute period. If not, it's a shootout. Shendelev takes his time on the puck. Torgeyev goes in quickly. Hasak at the red line. Hasak quick to get it up to the blue. A high flip by Konsek. Konsek races in, and that's cleared away by Zuyev. Hasak moving along the board. Shendelev is there to pick it up. Hasak providing 1 or 2 hard stoppages for the Russians. That goes all the way down the ice, and we have another icing call.
This time the icing is against the Russians. Face-off will be to the side of Zuyev.
I don't want to know where that cameraman is.
No, but every time they seem to go to the bench, the guys that they put the camera on are really doing an outstanding job of laying on the facial expressions. Paul, did I do that when I used to sit on the bench? It really frightens me to think of what some of these guys are doing with their lips, their jaws, their noses. There's some guys with some incredible twitches.
Bobs, you're doing it right now. Hartman.
It's this fake mustache that I wear.
Smerchak up on the wing. The Slovaks now started up. 5 minutes gone. That goes all the way down. Zuyev banks it off the boards. Janos unable to get the stick on it. Shagorodsky pushing and shoving, and that goes back to Tertishny. Bezukladnikov. Bezukladnikov feeds it up. The return pass. He's dragged down. Play continues. Karpov with a move. Karpov breaking in. And that goes all the way back to the blue, and the Slovaks get it out of the zone. Along the boards. Shagorodsky. Vinogradov. And Voritsky moving out there. Satin. Bezukladnikov drops it all the way back to the D, and again, no one wants to make a mistake out there, so they're making the simple passes. The long clearance in, and that's right on the money. Shagorodsky let that go, and Hartman squeezes that between the pads.
It's a very happy-looking Tim Taylor, coach of the U.S. team. He doesn't have a lot to be happy about. He looks very, very into the game, and probably thinking about the way he would like things to have gone against the Finns. It just didn't go that way. A 6-1 defeat by Tim Taylor's U.S. team.
Nikolitin moves out of the face-off circle. Berezin moved in and chases Batya. Nikolitin calling for it, and the Russians go back on the defensive as that bobbles out into neutralized territory. Vinogradov being hooked and shoved and eventually taken out of the play. Rocketed off the boards. Nikolitin peppers it right back in, and here come the Slovaks. Back on the attack. Coming up quickly. Konsak fed it over. Right in front. Oh, Stasny was there. And Zuyev came up big. The puck came out, but the whistle had blown.
Zuyev with a catching glove the size of a wicker basket, saying that he was chopped as he had the puck in his glove. Dano on the move. The puck goes to the outside. Palfi is off a skate. The shot is taken. Dano gets a piece of the glove. 2 or 3 Russians get a piece of Dano. There's a shot going into Zuyev's glove. Dano got the fishing pole out there. He gets a little piece of it, but the Russians have a quick chop on him to get him out of the play.
Whistle blowing very quickly there as the faceoff is to the left of the goaltender as he looks down the ice. Coming up to the 7-minute mark as the puck bobbles and falls for Berezin. Berezin winds up, takes the shot, and Hartman is there to stop it. Hasek, a long pass out. Konsak, a long clearance in. That ricochets off the plexi. Berezin has to go deep. Hasek is right on him. And again, we see a long clearance that just goes the distance. Icing is the call.
The Russian forward's not really moving much. The defenseman feeling he was stranded back there. Hasek is causing problems. It's not the easiest job to shake that guy off, so the Russian figuring he's doing the safe thing, taking the icing call, but that brings the face-off right back down into Zuyev's end of the ice. And look at Palfi sitting on the bench.
The winner of this game, folks, play the Swedes, and that's going to be a tough one after a contest like this. The Swedes had a physical game. Zuyev hangs on to that. Had a physical game against the Germans, but they were never really threatened, I don't think. Whereas this game is going into overtime. It could go into a penalty shootout in a couple of days' time. They got to play again.
The goal scorers that the Swedes have, they had the ability to turn it up a notch when they really needed to, but it was 1-0 for quite a while. The Germans played it as tough as possible. It didn't help the fact that Ludeman and Heimer went out of the game injured. They're both very well-respected defensemen.
Janos took the shot, and that hit escapes. Good period here for the Slovaks. Petrovitsky lost that. That goes to the far side, and it's peppered in by Smerchak. The Russians bring it out and throw it all the way down into the Slovak zone with Torgayev racing to the far side. Janos gets there and jumps his man, but the Russians hang on to the puck. Working in, the shot comes in. Hartman stretched for that one. It just whistled by the post. Another shot comes in, and Shagorodsky got a piece of that. Janos brings his man down, and we have a whistle on the play. Puck being moved by the hand, and Hearn right on the spot.
Face-off will come outside of the Slovakian zone.
How long can these guys go without scoring a goal? The last goal was 1925 with the second period. It's now 7:38 of the overtime period. That's pushed forward by a hand, but the Russians come up with it. Karpov, the backhander, looking to get it out front. Karpov is still there. Stasny. Batya bangs it off the boards, throws it up, and the Slovaks not stringing the passes together. A couple of minutes left, and then we go into a shootout. I personally don't like the shootout situation. I'd like to see it resolved in overtime, but that may not happen. The Russians now trying to get it out of the zone. A long clearance down the boards. Marchenko feeds it to the far side. Dano hits the blue line and just taps it away. And everyone is on everyone else out there. Shargorodsky gets it up. Vinogradov couldn't get a handle on it. Coming in now. Vinogradov! Nikolishin set him up. Vinogradov, number 19, streaked down the right side, and that's the game.
There goes the idea of your penalty shootout, Paul. You aren't going to see one. The Russians have won it at 8:39 of the overtime period. Hey, look at that guy smile. Tikhonov with the hugs, a little dance, fist in the air. He's a happy guy. The Russians celebrate. Vinogradov with the big goal for the Russians. Nicely set up through the hard work of Nikolishin.
Folks, Tikhonov knows that he's lucky to be in the next round. They played well, so did the Slovaks. Again, no real losers in this game. But the Russians really took the opportunity when it came.
It's what happens when you keep the legs going. Nikolishin just not coasting through it or letting the Slovaks tie him up. He keeps going long enough to be able to push that puck to the front of the goal. The Slovaks are all watching him. In the meantime, Vinogradov just slips into the play and tucks the goal into the net.
Well, an excellent finish. It was a funny old game. Fast moving at times and then it slowed right down. But in the end, the Russians come up with a big victory, and that's the final score.